This is Gary Chan wrapping up on the conclusion of the life cycle strategy plan on Vyvanse lisdexamfetamine. I want to thank my team, Dr. Enkausen, Dr. Cargbo, and Dr. Cosmali for working with me. This has been an excellent opportunity for me to work with people around the world with different backgrounds. Although two of my members here have now in the United States, people in my group have grown up in places all around the world. So once again, thank you for working with me. In the final remarks section here, we want to cover what do you think the company could have done to have an even more successful project. If you can address what was the return on investment and did they miss anything? Did we or as a group miss anything? Which I don't think we have. So as an appendix section, just have an outline of each section highlighting all the areas that should have and are addressed in our whole presentation. Future successes, future changes for more success. I want to give you 3 bulleted points here: compliance issues, side effects, and costs. We're going to an area of Affordable Care Act, looking now and into the future, healthcare system that's trying to reduce their costs. Patients in the primary care sector very often have problems taking their medications regularly. That could be because of side effects. It could be because patients forget to take their medications regularly. If we can create a medication that addresses compliance issues, that would be excellent. In schizophrenia, for instance, we have haloperidol decanoate. We now have Risperdal that can be dosed injection once a month. A patient comes in the office, they can get an injection, and that would help if patients cannot take their medications regularly. Side effects: growth stunting, anxiety, difficulty sleeping. If we can reduce these sorts of side effects with amphetamines, that would definitely be an area that we should target for future drug development. And finally, the costs. Lisdexamfetamine, Vyvanse is a blockbuster drug, so it's sort of that previous era medication that is very expensive to develop. As we discussed in class, about $2 billion to $3 billion to develop a drug. We want to develop drugs at a lower cost in the future. We need to target drugs in the mechanisms that we've studied before, and mine that information for more cost-effective medication development in the future. Our return on investment has been huge. Adderall XR in 2003 produced $535.6 million, and if you look at Vyvanse, which is the next line in extension of this product, $1,030 million in 2012, almost double. If you combine Adderall XR and Vyvanse as a drug in this mechanism, $1.46 billion, which is huge. And we still have 10 more years to go. The patent expires in 2023. This is the appendix section. We've got market and market analysis. I'm not going to cover everything. I just want to give you the highlights. This medication does address a medical unmet need. It addresses hyperactivity, impulsivity, inattention, behavioral symptoms of ADHD. It's an amphetamine. It targets neurotransmitters, and it can also be used for MDD, EDS, and binge eating. So major depression, excessive daytime sleepiness, and binge eating disorders. Benchmarking: there are other medications in this area: Strattera, Concerta, and methylphenidate. We've got burden of disease. This medication helps this population. The prevalence is 3 to 7% in school-aged children, and about 9.5% of children from 4 to 17 are diagnosed with ADHD, so we're serving this population with this medication. Preclinical pharmacology: this is a first prodrug stimulant, and this is a very important point. This medication has lower abuse potential because of this. It's amphetamine, as I've said it before, targets the norepinephrine dopamine system and acts on the striatal dopamine area of the brain. And the lethal toxicity: the lethal dose at 50% of median is 1 gram per kilogram. That means that 50% of the rat population, or whatever animal we're studying, dies at a dosage of 1 gram per kilogram. Early clinical development, we've discovered that the steady state will be achieved at 5 days, the half-life at 10 hours, and at phase 2 studies, 30, 50, and 70 milligram dosages were studied. And you'll see in the latest formulation, 20, 30, 40, 50, and I think 60, 70 milligrams are now available as a dosage form. We'll see that later on. And in late clinical development, we find conclusion, I want to keep this simple, that is a very safe drug, no deaths reported in both the 4-week and the 1-year study. But adverse event reporting system does report 12 fatal pediatric cases, of which 9 causes of death were related to self-harm or drug misuse. So if the medication is used properly, this should not happen. Regulatory strategy, this medication is worldwide, not only in the US, but you can see in many other countries. Side effects, I think this is very important, so I'll just mention them all. Slowing of growth, anxiety, dizziness, loss of appetite, nausea, vomiting, irritability, diarrhea, trouble sleeping, heart-related and psychotic problems. If you know a lot about the body, the sympathetic system, these are all sympathomimetic side effects as opposed to parasympathetic. And if you can create a drug that reduces these side effects, that would just be amazing. Warning, should not be taken with those that are who've had antidepressant MAOIs or they have allergies to this medication. Next slide. Oh, dosing, that's pretty important. Just dose it in the morning. And it treats a population of 6 years old and older. Patent lines, we've gained patents since 2010, and they're patents because it's targeting the dopamine and the methylphenidate areas, biomarkers on the dopamine transporter and the methylphenidate response. Marketing, lower abuse potential, as I've said. Adderall XR, there was an overlap before it expired. Strengths and weaknesses, opportunities and threats. Lower abuse potential, same efficacy as other medications, diversification, and we've got liquid formulation, atomoxetine, which are Schedule II drugs. They're not as strongly regulated, so there's a little bit of competition there. And I'd like to go to the next slide. Sales, they want to remain as the first drug of choice for MDs, targeting the primary care physician market, family physicians, and pediatricians. And that's pretty much it. I know that haven't covered everything here, but this is just a conclusion, and I wanted to hit the highlights. Once again, Team Vyvanse, thanks you for your time and the opportunity to work together. I hope that we have an opportunity in the future to work in a worldwide network of people in this Coursera class or in future Coursera classes. Thank you. I want to thank the professors and I want to thank the students for participating in this wonderful project.